Well, hello, welcome again to a reading of the Greek New Testament, and I'm reading Colossians, and I got up to chapter 2 and then verse 13. This remaining part of chapter 2 is very difficult. The Greek contains a lot of very rare and obscure vocabulary. The thought is complicated, the theology is complicated. Again, you'll need to consult commentaries to flesh out a lot of the detail here. I'm just going to attempt to translate as best I can what the Greek seems to be saying. So starting at verse 13, kai humas nekrus ontas, and then brackets en tois paraptomasin, kai te aquabustia te sarkos humon, sun edzo opoiesen humas sun auto. I'll just pause it there at the comma. Now this follows on, in fact, from the earlier passage, so it's in the accusative here. It's in accusative after this verb here is the main verb down here, to make alive with. So I think it's meant to be Jesus here. So Jesus made you alive, and we get the humas twice, with him, you being corpses, that is, you being dead, and then en we need here, it's not in the best manuscripts, so in the transgressions, this is from parapatoma, so it's in the transgressions, so be in your transgressions really, and in the aquabustia, this is the uncircumcision of your flesh. That is, it's something like of your flesh. People translate this in various ways. It's literally of the flesh, the uncircumcision of your flesh. And so it just simply means of your body, really, of your physical person. So he has made you alive, so with him, and then we get sun auto repeated, with him, made you who were dead in your transgressions and in the uncircumcision of your flesh. Charisamenos, now charisdomai normally means to bestow freely, but here it apparently seems to have the meaning of forgive, so having let you off gratis, perhaps to put it into modern parlance. So having forgiven for you all ta patomata, this is this word we had up here, having forgiven for you all your transgressions. Patomata. Ex alepsas to kathemon cheirographon tois dogmasin hoein hup enantion hemin kai auto erken ectu mesu pros elosas autotos staro. This is from ex alepho, and it means to rub out. It's used in the sense of if you write something and then you erase it, you rub it out. So having rubbed out, having erased. Now we get the very complicated expression here, and I'll do the best I can with this. The cheirographon simply means something which is written by hand. So it's a handwritten record. Dogma is an ordinance. We get our modern word dogma, of course, but it originally meant something which seemed good, and hence it becomes an ordinance. So the one translation of this says the certificate of debt, which was opposite to you, to us. So you can say something like to us. So it's something like the handwritten record in regard to the ordinances which was opposed to us. So as I said, perhaps it has the sense of a charge of legal indebtedness which was not in our favour. It's very much, it seems to be a legal term here by someone who is familiar with law court language. So the charge of legal, so having rubbed out the charge of legal indebtedness in regard to us, which was not in our favour, which was opposite or opposed to us. Kai auto hurricane, this is perfect from Iro, so he has taken it away, ektu mesu, from our midst, perhaps out of, might be idiomatic for out of the way here. So he's taken this out of the way, out of our midst. Pros elosas is from pros haloo. There's a noun, halon I think it is, that means a nail. And this is the verb, pros eloo. It's an omicron contract verb. So having nailed it to the cross. Ap ek dusamenos, having divested, literally having taken off. This is the verb meaning to take your clothes off and so on. So take some ek duo as opposed to en duo is to clothe, ek duo is to remove clothing. Here it's more abstract sense, in the sense of having divested, understand, of power, the archas, the sovereignties, and the authorities. So having done that, dagmatisen, from dagmatisdo. A dagma is an example. It comes from daiknumi, to show, and so a dagma is an example. This is the verb dagmatisdo. It means to make an example, en paresia, in public. So having made a public example of it, so he has having divested, understand, the power of sovereignties and authorities, he has made a public example of it. Now we get another very rare word, threambusas. I'll translate it first and then perhaps try and explain the meaning of it. It's something like triumphing over them in it. So the it is generally taken to refer to the cross, the staros, as we had back here. So just to translate that, and then I'll say something about this word here. So having divested of power the sovereignties and the authorities, he has made a public example of them, triumphing over them by it, that is by the cross. Now the verb here is extremely rare. It's only here in the New Testament, never in the Septuagint, very rare and late. It occurs in Plutarch. There is a noun threambos, which is a classical word meaning a hymn sung to the god Dionysus, and because it's connected with this threa here, which is an old word related to the worship of Dionysus. So the word then comes to mean to have some kind of triumphal procession, and then here it seems to be the verb threambuo seems to mean just to triumph over. It's quite a dramatic word. It means to have a triumphal procession, a procession of triumph, of having defeated somebody. So that's the first part of this. It doesn't get a lot easier, I'm sorry. Me un tishumas krineto en brose kai en posse en mere, hiotes e neomenias e sabaton. Therefore, let no one judge you in, the N here has something of the sense of in regard to. Is there any way I can make sense of it? So in regard to, now brosis is food. It's cognate with our word bromine, because bromine can eat glass, and so brosis is the word for food, connected with the verb bibrosko, to eat. And brosis is the third declension feminine abstract noun. They formed from that verb bibrosko. So let no one therefore judge you in regard to food, or aposis is drink, or en mere, well, literally in the portion, in the part. Some people render this as on the subject of, which is probably about the best you can do there. So, or on the subject, or in regard to a feast, or a neomenias. This is a new moon. You get neo plus main. Main is the Greek word for the moon. Of course, it's cognate with our word moon. So, or a new moon, or of Sabbaths. So this must have something to do with various festivals and special days and times, new moons and Sabbath days and so on. Ha est in skia, which are, sorry, now that's neuter plural, with singular verb, and this is singular. Skia is a feminine first declension noun meaning a shadow. So, which we would say, which are a shadow of the things being about to be, the things coming. Now, the todes soma to Christou is an odd expression here. Some take it as meaning the tosoma, taking the word body in the sense of substance, and then the genitive here is possessive. So the substance belongs to Christ. I find that a bit odd. The commentators will have much to say on this, I'm sure. It seemed to me that it could also be connected with this earlier imperative, especially when we get another Maydays plus imperative in the next sentence. So it could mean, I think, perhaps, here's just a suggestion, something like, let no one judge you on all these matters, but let them judge you on the, perhaps, your being part of the body of Christ. So in regard to the body of Christ, that is they're saying that your connection with the body of Christ. Anyway, it's very difficult, and that's best I can do with it. So I'll just do that again quickly. So let no one judge you in regard to food or drink, or in regard to a feast or a new moon or Sabbaths, which are a shadow of the things coming, but literally the substance belongs to Christ, or let them judge you in regard to your being part of the body of Christ, is my suggestion there. Medes humas kata brabueto, thelon in tapenophrosune, kai threskeia ton angelon ha hioraken embatuon ak, fusiumenos hypotun noos te sarkos autu, kai kraton ten kephalan, ex hupan tosoma dia ton haphon kai sun desmon, epi gumenon, kai sum bibas dominon, auxe ten auxesin to theou. Another very difficult passage here. So let no one, now get another very rare word here, kata brabuo. Now in Greek, a brabius is a judge. This is a verb meaning to act as a judge against somebody. It's extremely rare. It occurs once in Demosthenes, so it is a classical word, but very rare. So let no one pass judgment against you. Now the thelon en is idiomatic here, and it literally means wishing, wanting, but it is in the Septuagint, this expression is used to translate a Hebrew word meaning delighting in. And I think that probably is what it means here. We do get we've had several Septuagintalisms here, and this may be one of them. So I'm going to translate this as delighting in. Others render it as insisting on. but that's pressing the thelone quite a bit in terms of meaning. So I'm going to take, so let no one judge you, those who delight in, this is humility. You get tapenos is an adjective meaning humble, and this is the phrain root, humble of mind, and so it becomes an abstract noun meaning with humble thought. So let no one pass judgment against you, those who delight in humility and threskeia. Threskeia is the word for worship, the worship of angels. Embatuon, again a funny word here, it means to stand on. It's connected with bino, in fact, and em, in terms of roots. So it might mean something like relying on things which he has seen. So this is this person, this maides, this let no one judge you, etc. Relying on things which he has seen. AK, in vain, thusiumenos, this is from thusioo, meaning to be puffed up. So puffed up in vain from the mind of his flesh. So, in other words, being puffed up in vain by his human mind. Kai kraton, not holding fast to, from kratio, the head, which in verses we've seen this idea of Christ as the head of the church. So it's not holding fast to the head, ex who, from which, or from whom, it will be here because it's masculine, so from whom pan tosoma, all the body. Now we get a participle here, is this means to provide for. I'll come back to this participle. It's again a complicated word. So it's something like not holding fast to the head, but from him all the body is being supplied or provided for through the haphone. This is from haphe. This is a word meaning the joint. So through the joints and the ligaments, the sundesmo. This is thinking of the human body here. Through the joints and the ligaments are being supplied, so this is the head, from which all the body is supplied through the joints and the ligaments, and is united, from sum bibasdo, and being united, literally it causes to grow, the growing of God. So in other words, it produces the growth of God, or causes, others take it to mean it causes it to grow by the growth which comes from God, taking this genitive in this way. So I'll just do that bit again, it's quite difficult. So not holding fast to the head, from whom all the body is supplied through the joints and ligaments, and being united, it causes to grow the growth of God. So that's a very, very difficult passage. I'm afraid it's still hard to come. This second half of verse 2 is very hard. E apethenete sun Christo apoton stoikeon to cosmo, tihos sontes en cosmo dogmatidzeste, me hapse me diguse me dithiges, ha estin panta es phthoran te apocrese. I'll just pause there, there's a comma. But if you have died with Christ from the principles, the stoicheia, we've had that one before in this work, the principles of the world, why, as living creatures, so why as living creatures, dogmatizeste, do you submit yourselves to the decrees or dogmas or ordinances? So why as living in the world, so it's something like why, even though you are living in the world, do you submit yourself to, its middle here, to decrees or dogmas? May hapse, we're getting may plus subjunctive here in place of the imperative. This is from haptomai, to touch. This is from guamai, to taste. And this is from thingano, with a double gamma. If you're looking it up, it's the aorist subjunctive from thingano. So do not touch, do not taste, haptomai is to touch. Guamai is do not taste. And another word, thingano, is also to touch. What the difference is here, I'm not quite sure how to make sense of the difference between the two here in verse 21. So perhaps it's something like do not handle, perhaps here for that haptomai. Do not handle, do not taste, do not touch. All these things are that which are leading to destruction by their use. This is from apocrasis, third declension abstract noun. So all these things are that which leads to destruction by their use. Kata ta entalmata kai didaskalias, and then tone anthropone on the next page. According to the ordinances or commandments or commands, connected with entelemai, to order or command. This is the third declension noun in ma. According to the ordinances and didaskalias, the teachings, tone anthropone of men. Hatina estin logon men ekon to Sophias en ethelas threskia kai tapenophosune kai aphedia somatos uk en time tini pros plesmonen tes sarkos. And another difficult verse here to finish off with. So something like, these are the very things which, so these are the matters which having the logon men, now we get a men there and we don't get a balancing debt, unfortunately, which again is very odd in Greek to get a men without a debt here. So these are the very things which have the logon, literally the logic or the reason of wisdom, have the logic of wisdom in ethelathreskia. Again, a very, it's only here in the New Testament, it's an extremely rare word. It means self-chosen religion. In other words, self-chosen worship. Now we had this word before for humility, and aphedeia somatos. This is the act of not sparing, so being unsparing of the body. It's connected with alpha privative plus the verb phaidamai, to spare. So it means something like, these are the very things which, on the one hand, having the logic of wisdom, in self-made worship, that self-made religion, and perhaps self-abasement or humility, and then I'll read the Chi, and this must have something like the sense of severe treatment of the body. So this is practicing some kind of ascetic behaviour where you punish the body for its sins. So severe treatment of the body, and then we get en uk en time. En time is worth or value here. So I think you've got to put in something like but to balance that men. It'd be nice if there were a det in here to balance it. That would have been much easier to see what's going on. I think you have to understand a det here. But of no value, and that tinny goes with the time, but are of no value with regard to the ples monan, the indulgence or gratification of the flesh. So let me just finish by going quickly back over that. So these are matters, these are the very things which, on the one hand, having some logic of wisdom in a self-made religion and humility and the severity of the body, so severe treatment of the body, but are of no value in regard to the indulgence of the flesh, or fleshly indulgence. And that is the end of rather difficult chapter 2.